The commission already has an independent staff team that participates as a party in all major cases. That staff is charged with representing the public interest.
You guys see this guy, Tom Bond, saying that the Public Service Commission already has staff that represents the public interest during billion-dollar Georgia Power rate hike requests? Oops, what's this?
You used to have this position.
Right.
Your Public Service Commission is opposed to creating this position, even though 46 other states have it.
We're not opposed to it.
Okay.
We just think it's redundant.
You mean to tell us that 46 other states recognize the need for an independent consumer advocate during billion-dollar rate case proceedings, but Georgia doesn't? Let's see how that's working out for us. Georgia Power has multi-million-dollar lawyers representing them at rate case proceedings, donating tens of thousands of dollars to each commissioner from each lawyer. And that's not enough. Their law firm also donates tens of thousands of dollars in PAC money. But okay, let's take Tom Bond at his word. After all, he is the Utilities Director for the Georgia Public Service Commission. Let's see how well one of his staff members is doing during a rate case proceeding. Meet Tom Newsome. Tom Newsome works for the Public Service Commission and has taken on the role of representing small consumers during a billion-dollar rate hike proceeding.
They call it financial integrity. And one thing on the risk profile is how fast do you get your call, what cost recovery.
Yeah, so he's not looking so good, talking about cost recovery and financial integrity, worrying about Georgia Power. I thought you were representing the small consumer at billion-dollar rate proceedings, Mr. Newsome. Since we're playing games with Mr. Tom Bond telling the Senate committee that the Public Service Commission doesn't need an independent advocate because they've got it handled with their own staff, watch Mr. Newsome handle a softball question he has asked. Wouldn't it be good to mitigate the risk to ratepayers? That is only a yes, but let's see how Mr. Newsome handles it.
To try and mitigate the risk of rate increases.
Yes, but you've got to strike a balance between the company and the ratepayers.
What? You have to strike a balance? That's literally not your job. That's the job of the other commission staff and the commissioners themselves. You are supposed to represent the public interest, the small consumer that Tom Bond said is not necessary at the commission, but looks like it is. It's very clear that Mr. Newsome is not interested in representing the small customer and is in no way a consumer advocate because he's clearly very concerned about Georgia Power. Let's see one more example, and this one is a doozy.
Isn't it true that you reached an agreement with the company prior to the filing and reviewing of intervener testimony?
Yes.
Wouldn't you agree that that defeats the purpose of having this be an open docket for the public's intervention?
There were some discussions between our attorneys and their attorneys about maybe we can work something out on this. They presented terms. And we said, okay, we'll sign off on it.
So yeah, there's our guy. He's our representative. According to Tom Bond, he's doing a fine job. But his answer was so shocking to that woman, that attorney, that she asked him a pretty point-blank question. What is your role exactly here?
Explain to the extent that you know what's the difference between the public interest advocacy staff and the advisory staff?
The public interest we actually represent. We pursue the case with the company. We're going to argue with them about stuff. Advisory advises commissioners.
I think something else is going on here.
Do you agree that the advisory staff has a duty to consider all of the testimony?
They certainly can consider it. They think it's worth considering.
Yeah, hearing from public testimony during a public proceeding at the Public Service Commission for Mr. Tom Newsome is only optional. I mean, if it's worth considering. Maybe I'm picking on Mr. Newsome too much. I mean, there are other public interest advocacy staff people. So let's take a look at Mr. Preston Thomas.
On July 29th of this year, the application requested certification of 3 projects that totaled 77.9 megawatts.
In case you don't know, 77 megawatts is an extremely tiny amount of energy.
Staff recommends regarding the company's application, including the following. The commission should certify the 3 new PPAs from the 2023 biomass RFP portfolio.
What? He's recommending certification of the 3 biomass PPAs? That cost billions of dollars? that's a trade secret because they want to hide the exploitation? Why is he recommending that? And just as with Mr. Newsome, Mr. Preston Thomas's sole job as designated public interest staff is to represent small consumers and not balance the needs with the utility, which is what commissioners are supposed to do.
The commission should approve the proxy price PPA amendments for International Paper's Flint River Mill and Port Wentworth Mill facilities.
Tell us again, Tom Bond, what you were saying.
The commission already has an independent staff team that participates as a party in all major cases. That staff is charged with representing the public interest.